first day of putting the yard sign up, we got a call in a very wealthy city here in Utah, $3,000 job, just like that.
Yeah.
Go. That's
So,
awesome. And you spent, I mean, how many yard signs did you buy?
I bought. Well, we kept buying, but the initial purchase was 100.
100
But
of them.
we
So you
kept
spent $350 for 100 yard signs. In day one, you got a $3,000 job.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
You
like
10x that marketing return. That's awesome.
I don't know. I finished it in 4 or 5 days. He's the same thing, and
Okay.
we did a job or two, and we installed gutter. I mean, I know. I told Brian, I'm like, Colin is not gonna like the fact that we were installing, but we hired people. I promise.
We have a guy right now.
Yeah, we're phasing out. We're phasing
There
out.
we go. Good.
We're just supervising now, just to make sure they do it right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's nice to know, like, being on the jobs and installing it, know how to do gutter yourself. I think that's really helpful for like teaching people and hiring as well. If you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing, it definitely helps. But long term, we're trying to get out of that.
Obviously, we paid for GutterLaunch and everything, but
Right.
it's been a life-changing thing for me, from Brian, for my wife. I was telling you, I worked as firefighters here in Utah and everywhere else. Really, we're public servants. We don't get paid the best.
Mm-hmm.
And we understand that that's just part of the job, right? It's all coming out of tax. I work 48 hours at my full-time job, and then I have to go and work 2 other part-time jobs just so I could get like my wife through nursing school or build a house. Same thing here with Brian. Brian is actually ex-Marine, so it's just we're always like working some other jobs. Like he does a lot of odd jobs just to supplement the income.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big, huge jump to just say, okay, this GutterLaunch thing, we don't know a damn thing about gutter. I've never seen gutter in my life. I haven't touched it ever. I couldn't point a gutter on a house before. I'm being serious. No clue. So it was just a huge jump to quit those part-time jobs, the fire jobs, because they're very stable jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They're government jobs, right? They're just part-time fire jobs. And to jump into this, but since day one, we've been running and we haven't stopped yet. It's been 3 weeks of continuous jobs, and we have 2 weeks of extra jobs, and they keep just coming. We keep booking them. And then the beauty is, I work all day when I'm off. We work doing estimates, doing installs, doing whatever. But then I come home at 5 o'clock, and I could spend my time with my wife. Where before I would be gone for 4 days. I only have 2 days off, and the 2 days I'd be sleeping because I'm recovering from the 4 days on. The amount of money that we're making, it's insane. Like for everyone like that's kind of thinking that this is not going to work, if they follow what you have to say, because we've tried it. When we first started, we're like, let's just jerry rig it and see what happens. we did for a week. It did not work out.
Yeah, we were listening to people who have been doing gutter in Utah for 20 plus years, and we thought that they knew what was going on, so we were listening to them for a little bit. And there's that day that we were telling you about earlier where we were looking at each other and we're like, no, we're not going to do it this way anymore. We're going to listen to what Colin has to say, and everything you've said has been working amazing.
So we went back to the course. We redid everything. We got everything going, and that week after that, when our job times dropped like 60-70%. We'd like get on a job, get it done.
Just by following like how to install.
Exactly. That's just your install, your techniques, using the tools that you have, right?
The tools was a big one, because some people were using hacksaws to cut the downspouts.
We just followed what you did, right? Exactly to the T.
Yep.
I took part. Brian kind of took over the operation with hiring people and kind of the truck and the trailer. I took the payroll and QuickBooks and estimates and ads and all that good stuff.
Okay.
And then Alex kicked in.
Yep.
And then it's just like a normal job now. A house will take us 3 hours. Done. That's $1,500 just like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then we're keeping the 61% profit margin that you have.
Good.
And we still have a full-timer that we're paying that's also a great guy. He's been, helping out a lot. And we have a salesperson. This week we're closed $11,000. It's 2 weeks. I know we want to make the kind of the goal, which is about 25 to 30 a week. But I think we're going to get there eventually. Mm-hmm. And we were told this is the worst season. This is like the worst time to get in.
Yeah.
And all that good stuff. We're still doing pretty damn good.
Right.
So $11,000 first 2 weeks. We have about an estimate's waiting about $8,000 just sitting. And that's just following your system. And the guy that was before us, they had the company, when we looked at his, papers and how much he made in tax returns, he barely broke $2,000 a month.
Wow.
So just listening to GutterLaunch and understand it's just also like the mindset too, right? We could have said the first week, "Oh, this is not working out." We could have came back and say, "Well, Colin didn't really teach us well."
Yep.
No, it's all about taking responsibility, right? Like it's taking, and I think the fire service puts that in us a little bit. What did we do wrong, right? Instead of coming after you, you did everything you can. You had a video of how to coil. I laughed my ass off on this other video, how to coil. But it's just that's how detailed.
How to coil up the extension cord?
Yeah. I was laughing. I was crying because it's funny, right? But you were just that's how detailed you got. So no one really has an excuse. And I mean, here's the thing: it's a big investment.
Yeah,
we put our life savings into this. Like it's a lot of money. Advertising is by far that huge expense, right? Everything else is really materials are cheap. And once you get the advertising out of the way and the truck and the trailer, like people need to call their suppliers and like find out the profit margins on the materials. It's insane. It's basically it's free materials. For the installs we're charging. So
yeah, I think a big thing with it is just doing it, because it's kind of hard and it's kind of intimidating to look at, because you're like, oh, I got a $10,000 truck or trailer and I got to buy the machine and I got to buy people and a whole bunch of money into this and that, so it's definitely it's like this really big task that looks like a lot, and you just kind of like got to jump into the pool, so to speak, and then swim. So I think that's helpful, is to just do it instead of thinking about all the things that could go wrong. It's like, think it through, but just definitely do it. That helps, because that's what we did. Is like we bought it, and the same day that we bought your program, we all just dived into it, and we just head first into it.
Oh yeah, it was a dive. There was no swimming out of it. We knew. I looked at when the payment came through to you guys, and I looked at Brian. I'm like, listen, you son of a bitch, this is it. Like, there's
no going back now.
There's no going back now. This is it. So trailer and truck and once you have that mindset of, okay, there's no going back. This is it. You're gonna make it. You're just gonna make it. If we, two of us, never touched gutter in our lives, have no clue what's going on, we're competing with companies that have like 15, 17 trucks making $6-7 more a foot, and we're beating them.
Right.
We're not beating them, but we're closing jobs. Like it's just, you just have to get into this. And I mean, Utah is not really a very wet state. It doesn't get a lot of rain. It doesn't get a lot of snow.
Right.
But like, states that have a lot of rain and stuff, like that got to be nice.
Right.
And again, everything you've like sent Jim, that I would have never, like without you, I would have never heard about that. Like that's just such a secret. That's I don't know if a lot of people use it. It's just that small stuff like this that they look and they sound small, but they're huge.
Right.
Like yard signs. I did not like imagine the yard sign. The first day on, they'll get us a whole house.
We talked about it. We're like, once we get the yard signs, a couple of weeks from now, it'll pay off. But it was like instantly.
I spent like a whole day calling the cities, and here's what I learned: if you're trying to put yard signs out there, the biggest thing is talking to my brothers and sisters in the fire service. One, we have such a great job. We have the liberty of 4 days. If you're doing the 48, 96, or doing the Kelly schedule, whatever you're doing, if you're doing the Kelly schedule, you still have 4 days off. But if you're doing the 48, you have no excuse not to do this. You have 4 days off, and instead of going work a part-time gig or ski patrol or whatever you're making over there, you're gonna make 6-7 times. I did. Again, like I said before, I worked part-time fire 2 jobs other than my full-time. So I'd get off my 48 hours. I'll do 24, and then I only have 2 days off. It was draining. It was exhausting. It was horrible. I would not recommend it to my worst enemies. GutterLaunch. We got going. We make now a day anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000. 15 like on a really bad day, we'll make like $1,000. Right there, I'd make $21 an hour. Sure, I'm sitting on my ass on a recliner, going on calls and stuff, but I'm away from my family. And I mean, all the guys and gals in the fire service know that when you're away from your family 24 hours, you half the time you're not sleeping at night because you're up on calls, right? And then at the end of the day, you're just 24 hours. How much did you make? $400-500. I made, I made like that much in 2 hours. That's what I started realizing, right? And now I get back home to my wife, and I spend all the night with her. So the thing is, we have such a secure job, a great job. We're on for 2 days, and basically, some other people that are not in the fire service, it's a little bit harder for them because they don't have a secure job. They have to quit that job to do this, and that's sometimes that's a little bit more risk. I still recommend it. I still think it's amazing. They should do it, but especially if you're a firefighter, there's no excuse because you have that secure paycheck. You're working 2 days a week. You have 4 days off, and
that benefits your business a lot, because for us, we don't have to take a paycheck at all from our business. We can instead of taking a paycheck, we're just reinvesting it back into it, and then we can spend more money on people or on growing or doing whatever advertisements. Absolutely. So it's like you have the stability, you have the ability to grow faster, and it's really it's a huge benefit, I think, to be a firefighter and also trying to do this. Right. And depending on where you work, like sometimes it's going to be a busy shift. Like just last week, I had 27 calls that we ran in a 48, and I was exhausted, but we still went out and we still did it. So sometimes you'll have bad days for sure because of your job, but that stability alone makes it a lot better. Makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely. You have healthcare, you have retirement, there's no excuse. Like, this is the best thing you could do. And again, I always wanted to learn a trade on the side. And I speak with a lot of firefighters now. They're like, older firefighters that are retiring. Like, I wish I learned something like that. That is so cool. Because all they did is fire. And again, people that are in the fire service are going to relate to this. They always want to do something outside. And a lot of firefighters do a lot of stuff outside of the fire service, like roofing or whatever. But to take it to this next level of professionalism, and again, like there's a culture in the fire service of being an overtime whore. We basically overtime. Like I still like when overtime comes out. I'm like, I really want to take that overtime, but
you'd make more money by not paying.
Yeah, but it's just a mindset that I got from the years of being a firefighter.
Right.
So yeah, it's been such a blessing. And the fact that we're in the fire service has been so awesome for us. There couldn't be really anything else I would rather do. I go out every day. You're running your own business. You're growing. You're seeing the amount of money that comes in. It's just, I don't know. It's a feeling that you really got to go through it.
That's right.
And especially when it works, because I spent, I don't know if I should say this, but I'll say it just so. I spent $30,000 to $50,000 in Amazon e-commerce. Because I thought that's what it was.
Yep.
That was the biggest. I don't want to cuss or anything. That was horrible. I wish I had that money invested here. I wish. It's just but you learn from those decisions.
Right. You learn.
So, yeah, this is by far. I've gone through 10, 20 companies that run e-commerce businesses. I've been to meetings. So I invested a lot of money in it. This has by far been the best ROI, return on investment, that I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
2 weeks, $18,000. Like you can't make this up.
So what does he think about this transformation? Does he know how much you guys?
Yeah, funny enough, I was talking to him like on my way here to Brian, and I was like, I called him. He's like, hey, yeah, there's someone that called him. He's like, so, yeah, this lady, I installed her neighbor's gutter, and she wants you guys out to come, and she was just wondering about the prices. And I told him, he's like, you gotta be like, are you high or something? Like, there's no way. I'm like, no, I'm being serious. Like, this is our prices. And he's like, are you getting any jobs? I'm like, Rob, you wouldn't believe. You would not believe how many jobs. It's been insane. We've installed some 6-inch, and we actually next week. The problem is when we started, we had to fulfill all those old.
Right.
So we had to keep the 5-inch going.
Yep.
But as soon as we start implementing the 6-inch, that's where the big money start coming in. So
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. Let's go. Let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been winning around here, so it's been awesome. You're the best, man. Again, we are so fucking grateful, man. You really. This is not. Yeah, this is. We didn't think me and Brian are a little bit. I mean, he's a little bit more skeptical than me. We always like this. It cannot be this good, but it is, and we appreciate it.
You're very well.
You've been amazing.
Yeah.
If you come to Utah, you better give us a call, man. You
I
got to
sure
give us a
will.
call.
I would
We're gonna
love
take
to.
you out for dinner.
So that works for me, man.
We're right here in Utah. If you have anyone, a firefighter, whatever, we want them to come and see for themselves. We'll take them for a full day, a ride along. We call it ride along to the firehouse.
Beautiful.
We'll come and take them around, and they'll see themselves. They'll see the estimates. They'll see the money. We'll even show them our accounts. We don't have a problem with that. Awesome.
Thank you guys so much. Truly, it means a ton. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys. God bless. Keep winning bigly. All right.
Absolutely. God bless. Take care, boss.
See ya.
Bye-bye.